Hello everyone, I'm so glad to share one article with you named Macrostructures and Rhetorical Moves in Energy Engineering Research Articles written by Chinese expert writers. I will focus on four aspects, namely background, methods, research and discussion, and reflections. As for the background, as you all know that research article publication is really difficult for novice research students, and for some other researchers, especially in China, we have the same situation. So there is greater need for EAP courses to help students to improve their research article writing skills in specific areas. To address these difficulties in research article publication, we are going to seek collaboration between English teachers and subject specialists. In some people's opinion, they think that international research article publication is mostly based on English teachers. So they think that it's English teachers' responsibility to help the students to improve their writing skills. But now we found that we need um, to make the English teachers and subject specialists to work together to help the students. So the present study will explore the extent that the research articles written by Chinese expert writers conform to conventions of international scientific communities. The purpose that the writer wants to explore this is that, in his opinion, he thinks that if the subject specialists, their research articles met the standards of the international journals, then their experience or their repertoire will be applied into the course to help the students to get published in international journals. So the purpose of the present study is to investigate the extent to which Chinese expert writers' research articles conform to the established conventions of international scientific communities in terms of macro structure and rhetorical moves. The main focus is to explore the generic features of typical research articles by representative Chinese research expert writers in a relatively new and multidisciplinary engineering area, energy engineering. This research is beneficial to EAP practitioners and students. To achieve the research purpose, four research questions are formulated. The first research question is, what prominent macrostructural patterns could be tentatively identified in representative research articles of Chinese expert research writers in energy engineering? The second question is, what are the moves and steps in these RAs to realize their respective rhetorical functions? And the third question is, to what extent are the frequencies of the moves and steps consistent with the results of similar studies in science and engineering disciplines? And the last question is, what pedagogical implications could be drawn from the findings? So to answer these questions, the author conducted this research in this way. For the data collection, for the data selection, the author, based on the recommendation of specialist informants and the impact factors of target journals. So the author looked up online about the 2016 list of energy-related SCI journals and the 2016 Best Chinese University Ranking Report. And based on these data, these reports, the researcher collected a representative set of 74 research articles. Then the author conducted a textual analysis to investigate the macrostructures and moves and steps about these research articles. To to confirm the moves and the steps in the research articles, the author conducted a pilot study, which I think it's very useful for us, that we can borrow from him, that if we are not sure whether we can achieve the communicative purpose, we can do a pilot study um, to explore or to test whether this research is manageable or not. So I think we can borrow this method from this present research. So as for from the data collection and the data analysis, they also get the results and the discussions. As for the first research question about the macrostructural patterns, they also found that the pattern of IMRDC is the most pattern in these research articles. It consists of 86% of all the data. IMRDC, in this pattern, the authors of these research articles preferred to combine results and discussions together as a separate section. So as you can see, there are other macro structures, but the IM combined R and D C is the most salient patterns in the articles. As for the second research question about the moves and steps of these research articles, they also found these moves and steps in each of the sections. For the first section about introduction, 3 moves are founded, and some specific steps are also found in this research article. You can have a look, so I will skip it. And this is for the section, the methods section, also 3 moves and several steps. As for the results and the discussion part, 3 moves also found. And for conclusion part, also there are 3 moves in this section. So for the third research question about the frequencies of the moves and steps, whether they consistent with previous studies, the answer is yes. So you can see all the moves and steps, they also compared them with the previous studies, and he found that they got the similar results from the data analysis. For the last research question about the pedagogical implications, they also claimed that it is feasible to incorporate non-native English-speaking subject specialists support in China to address students' RA publication difficulties. So the so from the data discussion, we can find that so in the future um, writing discourse, writing courses, we can ask the subject specialists for help to work together with English teachers to help the students to get their articles published in an international journal. So after reading the present research, I found that this article has a clear structure. So after I reading this article, I found that it is easily understand and I can follow the writer's need. So I didn't find any difficult in reading this article. And about each data or each decision about the data selection or any other terms, the author gave enough justification and it's quite reasonable. So I think this article could be a writing model, especially as for the moves and the steps. We don't have a book for the terms of the moves and the steps. So if we want to assign the terms to each move and steps, we can do a pilot study to get a framework of the present study that we can apply into this present research. So I think it's really nice, and we can borrow this idea into our own writing. But I have found a confusion about this research article. It's about the data selection. So in page 51, the third paragraph and the third line, the author mentioned that data was then screened so that only the original RAs published by the experts as first or corresponding authors in the four journals during the set period were included. So I have a question about this data selection, because if the Chinese writer as the first author of this article, it doesn't make sure that he or she is the one who wrote the article, and also for the corresponding authors. So I think the author may need to confirm that the article is actually written by Chinese authors, not that they occupied the first author order. Then you can say that he is the one writes the article. So this is all my reflections about the present research. So if you have any comments, please share with me. Thank you so much.